This is my 1999 TRX 400EX. Now you're probably clicking on this video and being like, there's no way that this guy picked this thing up for $100. Because if you go to Marketplace right now, this is about the price points that you're looking at whenever you're looking at something like this. In this video, we're gonna go over things that it needed fixed to get it running and how we got such a smoking hot deal. Now, before we get too far into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. My name is George. Do a lot of different things on this channel, from reviews, installs, truck builds, and just a bunch of random stuff like this. And don't forget to check out our description where I have my link tree and all my other social medias attached. Now let's hop directly into this and go over everything you need to know about this 1999 400EX. So before we begin our story, the whole reason we even have that four-wheeler is because of this lifted lawn tractor right here. This is my lawnmower, and if you look at it, you can tell that it's got a lift on it and some four-wheeler wheels and tires. And the reason that this has anything to even do remotely with that four-wheeler is because I made a post looking for some tires to put on this mud mower. So at the time, I had found these two sets already on Marketplace, and I also made a post on my personal Snapchat. And I get a Snapchat from a buddy I used to work with, Chris, and he goes, dude, if you're still looking for wheels, I have a whole four-wheeler I'll sell you. At this point, I'm just like, I'm not looking for a four-wheeler. I just need wheels and tires. And I actually already found some. He's like, well, I'll make you a good deal on the four-wheeler. I'm like, well, what does it look like? He sends me this picture right here. I have zero knowledge whatsoever about four-wheelers. At first glance, it looked like a little Chinese four-wheeler. And I'm just like, I don't know. I wasn't too interested in it, but I'm just like, you know, I'll entertain your offer. You know, what do you want for it? Because he did tell me, hey, it doesn't run and drive, but I know you need wheels and tires, so maybe this will work for you. So we kind of do that back and forth. What'll you give me for it? How much do you think it's worth it for you? Went back and forth until he finally gave me a price. He says, does $100 sound fair? And considering that I paid like $50 for some dry rotted tires, I'm like, $100 is completely fair in my opinion. So then I go to pick it up that very next day, and I see it in person. I'm like, oh, wow, this thing's a lot bigger. It looks cooler than what I thought. So we grab it and we load it up on the 6.0 behind me. So I send a few pictures to my brother, which he's a huge four-wheeler dude, used to rebuild them, pull them apart, and mess with them all the time. And I sent him a picture of this thing. I'm like, hey, I just picked up a four-wheeler for $100. What do you think? He's just like, what is that? He's like, is that a 400EX? I'm like, I don't know. I looked at the little tag up here up front. I'm like, TRX 400EX. It's a 1999. And he's just like, are you freaking serious? So like, yeah, I was just mind blown by it. I don't know anything about these things, but it did come with its issues. But for $100, you can't really beat it. So that's a bit of a backstory from it. Just accidentally ran into it after making a post on my Snapchat. My buddy hooked me up. I didn't really know what I was getting into. It was just like, oh, cool, $100 four-wheeler. So initially when I went and picked it up from Chris, he's just like, the last thing I knew is it needed some carburetor work. And I've messed with carburetors a little bit. So what we did is I bought a spark plug, carburetor, air filter, oil, and basically just did like a little tune-up on it. So after about $150 of parts and a new battery, plus what we paid on this, I think we're a grand total of like $350 after repairing it, which is a pretty good deal. So after buying all those parts, we put the carburetor on and it actually had started after that, but it was still running rough. So then we put spark plugs and then we put a new coil. And then I'm like, since we're already in this far, we did the oil change and a new oil filter on it. But it was pretty crazy because we got it running with some air in the tires and a carburetor. I ended up messaging my buddy Chris, and I'm just like, hey, that four-wheeler that you sold me, I got it running. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, you got a really good deal on that four-wheeler. So, I mean, it's not like something I took advantage of somebody over. I literally have no knowledge of whatever on this. Anything I've done to this four-wheeler, I've had to watch YouTube videos, or I took it to my brother. He's actually the one that figured out the carburetor issue on it because I had just pulled it apart, cleaned it, but he actually just threw a brand new one on there for me. So honestly, not bad with $250 worth of parts that we threw at it to get it running. We probably got it running with less parts, but we wanted to just kind of do that tune up with all those other things in there. Now, cosmetically, it did have a whip on it, but every single time I'd get on this four-wheeler, my leg would kick out and this dang thing would always whip, and it was super annoying. So I just grabbed the thing and I broke it off, but it just needs a whip delete. I just broke it off. And obviously it is needing a new seat, but I mean, $100 can't beat it. New seat. It does have a light fuel leak, so still need to replace a gasket as far as that, but it runs and idles. Bought some Amazon little grippies. These things are like the ugliest red ever. It's like peach red or orangey almost, isn't it? It's like the cheesiest red grips you could
like
buy.
A light red, but in the video it looks kind of.
Oh, okay. Well, in the video it looks good, so that's all that matters. And somebody, I'm not going to name who, you know, there was a girl behind the camera, let's just say, was getting off the four-wheeler, and she thought sliding off this end, which is fine. I'm just like, at first I was just like, are you serious? And then I'm like, wait, I have $100 in this thing. So like, I didn't feel that bad, but I know these plastics are expensive. One huge pro is I was going to buy these black plastic pieces off eBay because they were missing them. Literally, like 2 days later, Chris messages me and goes, hey, I have these black plastics. Do you want them? I'm like, yeah, because I was about to buy some off eBay, but I didn't want to like bug you about it because, you know, I told him I got it running and, you know, I gave him $100 for a whole four-wheeler. So I'm like, I'll buy them off you if you want. He goes, no, dude, you bought the four-wheeler. These are part of it. Here you go. He even brought them to me to work. So shout out to him, like really good guy. He wasn't a sore loser about it. You know, he's just like, you know, it is what it is. Here's some extra parts I found for it. So overall, it's a pretty good deal. It does start right up. And it just idles. You just let it sit there and it idles fine. Pretty crazy. If you guys have had something crazier, comment your best deals that you've had on Craigslist, Marketplace, or wherever, because I want to hear some of the best and craziest deals down below in the comments. So I'm just going to put this thing around a little bit. I don't have the proper protective gear like a helmet or anything, so I'm just going to show you a little POV of this bad boy. Who did that to my yard? Springs around the corner, it'll come back. Obviously I'm not very good at riding a four-wheeler. That thing is actually very quick. Obviously make sure you guys have like your safety gear on, like helmet and everything like that. I don't recommend doing what I did. I was just kind of putting it around over here, but even then it's just not something very good to do. So bad example there on my end. You guys can tell I'm not very much of a professional. I could barely even rip a donut on wet grass, but it's just a blast. I didn't realize how actually fast these freaking things were. My brother, who's ridden KTMs, 660 Raptors, like he's had fast four-wheelers and different types of dirt bikes. He's like, that thing is kind of dangerous, so just be careful, because he knows I'm not as experienced as him. But even then, that thing's awesome. Plus it's red. Like that was the most ideal thing with me whenever I found that four-wheeler. It's red, like my 6.0, my 6.7, my red gooseneck trailer. I got a red four-wheeler. So kind of fit the vibe perfectly. Now let me know what you guys think. Do you guys love this? Was this a pretty good deal, or do you think you could have done better? For those of you that are experienced in four-wheelers like this, what is something that you would recommend doing? Like any common issues or upgrades like on these things? Where's the best place to get seats? Just off Amazon? How do I repair some of this plastic that was damaged, or just like minor upgrades like that? That I'm still pretty new to the world, so any knowledge that you guys have, I would greatly appreciate it. With that, I'm not going to drag out this video. I just really wanted to show off our $100 fine to you guys. I'm going to let you guys all go, and if you guys made it to the end of this video, make sure you guys comment finished so that I know you guys made it to the very end. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you guys on the next one.